morning, good afternoon, good evening, because we know we have usually in those series many people from different continents, so it's a different time zones. Very happy to see you all. I'm Isolina Boto from COLEAD, co-organizing these sessions, and today number 16 with our colleagues from IICA in the Caribbean. And really the topic of today is very exciting, opportunities in cross-border value chains and what those opportunities are for Caribbean entrepreneurs. So as always, the session is recorded, the PowerPoint presentations will be shared. We have live interpretation in English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. We have been expanding those based, of course, on participation from different parts. You have to select your interpretation channel, the language, which is your language, by clicking on the globe symbol just on the right side of the toolbar on the bottom of your screen. So please do that, because we have checked the interpretation is working very well. I take the opportunity to actually thank the entrepreneurs. And as you know, those series are really to put on focus the successes from entrepreneurs in the Caribbean, so Caribbean entrepreneurs, telling us the story of success today on cross-border value chains. And then the second panel that my colleague Allister from IICA will moderate will be more from three organizations, ITC, our colleagues from ITC, Technological Solutions Limited, and Compete Caribbean, who support really entrepreneurs in this journey on cross-border value chain. We are very happy with also the number of people registered, which is almost 600. And of course, that will, even if they are not all today here, they will receive the recording and all the presentations and more information if needed. So just a very short introduction from my side before giving to Allister the floor. What you have it in the note, but what we talk today is about cross-border value chains, which involve the production of goods, services, information, etc., on multiple countries. So where different stages of the product's creation take place across borders. So this, of course, involves a network of activities, processes, but also of people, parties, manufacturers, suppliers, producers, distributors, and so on, and obviously consumers like us in different countries. So it is very important because we talk about globalization and interconnected markets and regional integration for the Caribbean. Of course, not without complexity, as we follow every day ourselves in the news. Sometimes it's more deglobalization, but let's see that is just a small entertainment. Then, of course, Caribbean countries have, like others in the world, new opportunities to integrate into larger value chains, be at regional or international level, and add economic value, diversify the sources and the consumers, expose their companies and their staff to international markets with all what it means, new knowledge, new innovations, new contacts, new networks, technology transfer, very, very important. And of course, for the small entrepreneurs and smallholders that work with the entrepreneurs, all the business skills and all the, what it implies that we have talked in almost every session in terms of improvement of those and the quality dealing with different markets and so on. We will hear, of course, from the successes, but also as any business is not without challenges. And the regulatory, obviously, environments, which are different when you deal with different countries, including, obviously, currencies and so on, all the infrastructure and transportation problems, all the private-public partnerships, government support, as we have mentioned many times on other topics, access to finance, very specific on the cross-border investments. So all that area, which is critical and is never enough, we know it's insufficient, and all the capacity building and skills development for entrepreneurs, that they really optimize these opportunities. And this requires very specific as well skills and reskilling, constantly, reskilling. And of course, understand how to comply with these markets is an area we have a dedicated actually session on that, on all the packaging, labeling, food safety, quality, etc., because you deal also with different markets. So that's in a nutshell, but we will, what the entrepreneurs will tell us how they have managed to succeed will be really the important part there. Allister, you will come in the second panel, but because IICA has COLEAD. COLEAD is a non-for-profit association of private sector operators in the agri-food sector across continents. So not only we're an association, but we also implement programs for different donors. One major is the European Union and the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States, who actually finance those sessions. And we have different programs of support, be technical assistance, training, and so on. My colleagues will put it in the chat, how you can, reach and benefit. But of course, also IICA has its own big area of support. And Allister is the representative of IICA in Barbados. He's himself very, very knowledgeable. He's young, but he has over 20 years of experience on agribusiness and value chains, not only on the private sector side, but also on agriculture research, development, financing of agribusiness, so a very holistic approach. So Allister, do you want to say a few words for IICA, just as an introduction? And happy to see you and your colleagues.
Thank you, Selena. I appreciate the introduction, and I'll be very, very brief. For us in the region, this sort of activity and this particular topic is very critical, given that in the region, we want to reduce our reliance on imported raw materials and imported foods. So talking about cross-border opportunities for agri-entrepreneurs is something that we really want to highlight and emphasize. So I'm really hoping that persons will come on board or listen to the recording, as you said, to understand these opportunities and see where there's value. Interestingly, I like that you said that we have the recording, because in most cases, persons should be able to go back and get the information and build their capacity. And I think that's one of the key points of this particular activity that we do. Besides reducing our reliance on imported foods and raw materials, I think this topic is key because we produce a number of quality products in the region that can really be available to international markets. So I'm really glad that we are addressing this topic. Recently, at our heads of government meeting held in Barbados last week, the heads of government agreed that we need to continue looking at reducing our food import bill. And we had a target of 25% reduction by 2025. And now we are looking at beyond 2030. We want to continue pushing the bar. We want to continue looking to reduce our reliance on imported foods and raw materials. So we need these entrepreneurs to come on board and continue doing their work. Governments don't trade, the agencies don't trade, but we need the various players who are here this morning to generally share their experiences. And that's so key for us, the sharing of experiences among the agri-entrepreneurs. And that's the value of this particular exercise. And it is hoped that the audience will be willing to share their experience, put their comments and questions in the chat, and reach out to these entrepreneurs and support agencies that we will hear this morning. So I'm excited for this opportunity. We recognize, though, that this is something that IICA has as a priority, developing value chains, working with the bioeconomy, in digitalization of agriculture, facilitating trade, a key focus for us, and of course, working with small players, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. For the Institute, we are looking at doing things in a sustainable manner, and that's why our Climate Action and Sustainability Program is one of our flagship activities. However, IICA by itself can't do this job. It's key that we work with other partners in the region, FAO, CARDI. We are happy to be led by the CARICOM Secretariat and their mandate. But more than that, the work with COLEAD is so critical. And Isolina, we want to applaud your efforts and your team for supporting this particular agribusiness series. We're happy to be partners. And I'm really excited for this morning. I think I should pause at this point and open up the session. And let's get underway. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you come back for the second panel. So listen, just take opportunities, reach out. We have our different organizations, Be Together or Alone, have different programs that support entrepreneurs. I was saying before, ITC and the other colleagues compete and so on, that will be in panel 2 as well. So please do that, because most of them are free, actually, even free, you know. And they are linked to other activities we do with IICA and others, like virtual trade fairs. And, you know, it goes beyond just the exercise of today. That, of course, is limited in time because we only have 2 hours. So let's get to the entrepreneurs in this first panel. We have Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname, and St. Lucia. So 3 different models, all successes, and they are telling the story. So Ravi, we start by you. Ravi Sankar is the managing director of the Caribbean Flavours in Trinidad and Tobago. He's a very, very known, successful, and respected entrepreneur. He has put a lot of passion, as most of our entrepreneurs here, into not only food innovation, but also making a change in the Caribbean that Allister was referring to. So he founded the company RHS Marketing in '95. And since then, he has really expanded his product range to more than 100 locally manufactured spices, sauces, condiments, and beverages. And in the same manner, he has really expanded the markets. He's now an international exporter, more than 26 markets across the Caribbean, North America, Canada, and the UK. And he's also a mentor supporting local manufacturing, so really innovating all the time. So we thank you very much. We can only imagine how busy you are and how busy your business is. So we thank you so much for taking the time to give it to us and to our audience, and to share your experience that can certainly inspire others. Thank you very much, Ravi. The floor is yours. If you can make it in 10, 12 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So good morning to the COLEAD team, to IICA, my fellow presenters, and our audience. Very good morning to you guys. So I did not say more about myself, what I do, my company. I guess, Isolina, you have done a great job in giving my short bio. So I think I know I only have 10 minutes. So I would like to get straight to the point, because there's a lot we can discuss. There's a lot I can share, and I'm very happy to be here this morning to share my experiences with you guys. And I hope we will get some more information. We could share information on this, and feel free to contact me if there's any way we can at any point share information. So as you guys know, we are a agro-processor in Trinidad and Tobago, and we do hot sauces, seasoning, spices. One of our main products would be pepper sauce, as we supply to a couple of the fast food outlets in Trinidad. Also, this is one of our main export items. We ship to the US, UK, Canada, and of course, regionally to all the islands. So pepper has been one of our peppers, a challenge in sourcing consistent supply of hot peppers in Trinidad. You know, because of the climate and the changes, and then a lot of more people are using peppers in Trinidad. It's been a real challenge in sourcing and getting these hot peppers. What we have done, the variety of pepper would change from as you go north to Jamaica. Trinidad, Grenada, St. Vincent, Barbados will grow around the same variety of pepper, which is the Scotch bonnet that we use a lot in Trinidad. So we were able to source peppers out of St. Vincent, and I asked the farmers that, you know, they grow a certain amount for me that I can buy. I had a company there that processed it and shipped it to me in drums. So that's one of the items that we purchased from St. Vincent. So a couple other items that we use are mangoes, ginger, thyme, which is for one of our seasonings, chives. Again, because in Trinidad, we're not able to get the volume that we require. We source, for instance, mangoes. Mangoes I import from Suriname. There's a company there who works with a small women's group that buys the mangoes, grate or cut in pieces, and is preserved and shipped to Trinidad. Now, we have our issues in shipping, the processing and all of that. And I think these are some of the things that we will have to look at in trying to work with some of these the suppliers to give us consistent supply, understanding how to import and export these products. So, for instance, Suriname, I had to ship the barrels, the preservatives, everything to Suriname, have the raw material prepped and preserved, and then shipped back to Trinidad. So I worked with it because there's a surplus amount of mangoes there that we really need in Trinidad. And of course, it comes pre-prepared. I just have to add my other seasonings and further process that product to get it on the market. So there's an opportunity there. Even in the other islands, I've seen in Grenada surplus amount of mangoes, in Lucia surplus amount of mangoes that we can use in Trinidad. Trinidad is an island that I would say love mangoes. We use it in everything. Mango cuchilla, mango anchar, chow, preserved mangoes, curry mango. So there is the opportunity there that we could, harness and get some more of these fruits coming into Trinidad. Thyme, I import thyme from St. Vincent, Jamaica, chives from Jamaica. Again, when there's a surplus, I have my colleagues in Jamaica process and ship it back to Trinidad for us. Then out of Grenada, we buy soursop for one of our Seymour drinks. So in some of these islands, I think we need to have like laboratories for testing, for getting to get certification, the relevant shipping documents. Some training has to be done there. So there are much more fruits and vegetables that we could source, but again, the knowledge on processing, the facility to process, some of the preserving ingredients, again, packaging, because I guess they won't have the packaging that we will need to ship back to Trinidad. Some of the strengths that I would see there, the consistent varieties. So the mangoes, the thyme, chive, they're all consistent throughout the Caribbean, so we can use it in our products. There's a surplus. There's an surplus availability in the islands, I guess, is not utilized as much, so it's available. And again, the pricing is not too bad. We are able to work with it and still be competitive. And again, we need agro-processors, farmers who can work with us to continue supply. Even spices. So we get spices out of Grenada, Jamaica again, the pimento berries that we use on an everyday basis for our spice range. So again, there are challenges, but I am, we get ahead of it by talking to our colleagues there and working with them to be able to supply us. In some cases, I would send small machines to help them process so that we could get the consistency that we want. And I try my best to work with these guys so that I can continue to get my supplies. Again, our exports has grown, and we contribute to our GDP. And I'm looking forward to strengthening some relationships regionally. We get a lot of stuff internationally too, out of I would say spices, Peru, Chile, India, China, a lot of our ingredients for spice blends. But regionally, I'll be happy to work with more farmers and agro-processors to continue to grow in the agro-processing sector. So that's in a nutshell what we do, how we do it, and I don't know if we have any questions. I can elaborate more. I'll be happy to answer.
Isolina,
I think the mic is off.
Muted. Isolina,
Yeah.
muted.
Yeah, sorry, I'm muted. So thank you very much, Ravi. Apologies, very interesting presentation and really very impressive growth of the company. We encourage our participants to post the questions, comments already in the chat, because my colleague Allister will take them in the second panel. So please do that. But we do understand from this presentation what is very often repeated by also, you are now a very big company, so obviously you have gone through many of those challenges. But for small ones starting, the logistic part, the laboratories, the certifications, not only the logistic part, but also the cost sometimes it entails is quite difficult. Hence the need to link with some organizations that have, which help is complementary and can support you there. And all, of course, the shipping, we had a dedicated session for regional trade is indispensable to improve that part in the Caribbean. And of course, it's not only for entrepreneurs, but a lot for public support as well. And all that training part, that I think is an area where many of our organizations could come in and kind of, support that part. But I really recognize many of the challenges that companies are mentioning, and the issue of packaging is systematically, if you want really to add value to your product and bring the processing part, and hence the packaging is a critical one, because there are many also now regulations and kind of standards depending on the country you export, which especially in Europe is quite difficult now, and you have to be aware of those and comply with those. We do have a lot of information on that as well. So thank you very much, Ravi. Questions will be coming. Thank you very much. So we go now actually to Suriname. Suriname, we have Gyanti, Tjon Alloy, who is the process engineer of a company called Varross NV. So your background is on animal production and health technology, but you have specialized on optimizing production processes, ensuring high quality standards in meat processing. So you really have also grown. You have invested in innovation. I would like to hear more on that innovation part and the sustainability, of course, which is one area we promote on all these sessions. So please, could you tell us how you have managed and you managed to deliver premium meat products to local and also international markets, which obviously are very complementary. Thank you very much for being with us and for your time. Please, the floor is yours. Can you hear me? You are muted. Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, now yes. And we can see the slide very well. Thank you very much.
Okay. So good day, everyone. My name is Gyanti Tjon Alloy. I am a process engineer at Varross NV, part of the Rossignol holding in Paramaribo, Suriname. So today I'm excited to share with you guys how Varross is leveraging cross-border value chains to growth and innovation in the Caribbean agri-food sector. Let's dive in. Yes, Varross NV is a key player in Suriname's meat industry, and we're proud to cover the entire value chain, breeding our own swine to processing and exporting high-quality pork, chicken, and beef products. We operate the country's primary pork slaughterhouse and a modern meat processing plant where we produce a wide range of meat products. These include fresh cuts for local markets and value-added products like sausages, cured meats, and other ready-to-eat products. Our goal is simple but ambitious to ensure high quality and efficient production, also while expanding into international markets. This focus on cross-border value chains is at the heart of what we do by sourcing materials globally, like spices, packaging, and specific meat cuts. We're able to maintain consistency and meet the demands of our production. At the same time, we're also exporting our premium products to regional markets. So it's not just about business for us, it's about building a sustainable and competitive industry that benefits everyone, from local farmers to also international consumers. So now that you know who we are, let's dive into one of the most critical aspects of our operations, that is sourcing raw material. So to maintain our high standards, we source raw materials like chicken, beef, pork cuts, spices, other additives, and also packaging from mostly South America, Brazil, Central America, that is the United States, and West Europe, mostly the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. And there are several reasons why we source internationally. First, the quality. International suppliers often provide materials that meet our standards. Second, the price. We source globally. Sourcing globally can be more cost effective than relying solely on local markets. Third, the availability. Some materials like specific spices or packaging simply aren't locally available in the specific quantities that we need. And finally, the consistency. The international suppliers help us maintain a steady supply, which is very crucial for meeting production demands. However, cross-border sourcing comes with its challenges. For example, navigating health certificates, and regulatory compliance can be time consuming, especially when importing from countries where there are no existing agreements with Suriname yet. And this is where our Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries plays a critical role. They handle two types of health certificates. The nationally established certificate, this is based on our regulations and are then sent to the exporting country to clarify our requirements. So Suriname's requirements. Then we get the bilateral certificate. These involve agreements between governments and inspection entities, where the exporting country specifies what they can comply with. So this is quite a time-consuming process. And logistics, on the other hand, is another challenge because many large companies don't handle less than container shipments as they focus on bigger markets. This means we often rely on brokerage services to consolidate our shipments and optimize our costs. But despite these hurdles, we've built a reliable supply chain that supports our production needs and keeps us competitive in the local market. It's a balancing act, but it's one that's essential for our growth and business. Once we source our raw materials, the next step is processing and adding value. So at our meat processing plant, we transform both locally sourced and imported materials into premium meat products, whether it's fresh cuts, ready to eat sausages, or cured meats, as I mentioned. Our goal is still to add value while maintaining the highest quality standards. So our processing operations are designed to be efficient and sustainable. We carefully select and prepare raw materials, ensuring that they meet our criteria before they enter the production line. For example, we produce a variety of value-added products such as sausages and cured meats, and those are not only popular locally but also gaining traction in the international market, mostly in the CARICOM countries. And to ensure our products meet global standards, we hold the ISO 22000 version 18 certification, and this focuses on food safety management. And we found that this certification is critical for accessing international markets. It also demonstrates our commitment to quality, safety, and compliance with the international regulations. And in addition to the certifications, we also work closely with the regulatory bodies like the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries to ensure our compliance with local and international standards. So this collaboration helps us navigate the complexities of cross-border trade and maintain our reputation as a reliable source of high quality meat products. This is a photo of the preparation of pork carcasses split in halves. These are exported to Barbados. So these are packed and then shipped. And with our products ready, the next step is getting them to market. So let's take a closer look. One of our key priorities is expanding into CARICOM markets. Currently, we are exporting mostly to Barbados and Guyana. And to expand our markets, to achieve this, we are taking several steps. We are optimizing our retail packaging, as Ms. Isolina mentioned, where we are redesigning our packaging to meet international standards and appeal to the regional markets. So this includes ensuring durability, freshness, but also compliance, of course, with the labeling regulations. The second is ensuring consistency and quality and establishing context. We do this through programs that the Ministry of Agriculture organizes. There was a export readiness program that was organized a couple of years ago. And we also do this through international trade fairs. Oops. Exporting, however, is more than just shipping products. It's a complex process that impacts our entire production chain. It's all about volume, which means we often need to scale up while maintaining strict quality standards and efficiency. And this is where my role as a process engineer comes into place. So after the price negotiations, we go on to process assessments to handle larger volumes where we are expanding our infrastructure. We are upgrading our facilities to increase production capacity, where we are redesigning our product flow and redesigning our process flow also. We include training to ensure our team is equipped with the skills and knowledge to handle these new processes and technologies. We include also trials to test these new workflows and facilities and equipment. Then we have the official implementation and evaluation. So clients often have specific packaging needs, which we address through a structured process. It has the same principle. We design, we hold trials, process flows are being updated, and then implementation and evaluation. So this attention to detail ensures that our products not only meet the client expectations, but also stand out in competitive markets. So in conclusion, we are committed to strengthening our cross-border value chain, not only for our own growth, but also for the development of the Caribbean agri-food sector by sourcing internally, internationally, adding value through processing, and expanding into regional markets. We're positioning ourselves as a leader in the industry, but we can't do it alone, of course. We need stronger collaboration between government, businesses, and regional institutions to streamline the processes, improve infrastructure, and create opportunities for growth. And together, we can unlock the full potential of cross-border value chain and build a more resilient and sustainable agri-food sector in the Caribbean. And that was it for my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. This is our information. So if you want to contact us, don't hesitate. I will leave this here.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting, very impressive growth as well. Huh? I just have a clarification, and as for Ravi, keep an eye on the chat and Q&A. It's better if you put your questions on the Q&A and then the chat. You keep putting insights and introducing themselves if you want, etc. But what is the packaging you are using now, and also your clients now? I assume they are different, your customers. I mean, it can be big supermarkets, it can be, because for now it's regional. And in the expansion you are planning, of course, provided that you do all the work required, is any relation with Africa? Because we have also many participants, entrepreneurs and others in Africa. Is that part, or you just want the proximity markets, which are for you the US, Canada, and so on? Could you tell us the customers you have, the packaging you are using now, and just the expansion very quickly?
So mostly our customers internationally are the Caribbean countries, Barbados and Guyana mostly. Our current packaging is very simple, vacuum bags, certain food grade material, but we are expanding into the design to make it more attractive for the retail internationally. So that is our biggest plan now, our biggest project now.
So in expanding is still in the CARICOM, right? That you
Yes.
plan to do. Yes, which is a very good opportunities. As Allister was also mentioning at the beginning, is not only a willingness from the policy makers and based, of course, on economic facts, but is certainly underutilized. I mean, the opportunities in the region. So thank you very much. You already have questions as well. Very, very interesting. So we go now to St. Lucia. That will be our next enterprise, entrepreneur presentation. Actually, I have two colleagues, Hagar Hippolyte and Candy Simon, who will make the presentation. And this is about cocoa, something we like very much everywhere, and where I'm sitting in Brussels even more. So it's really an artisan, been to a bar chocolate company based in St. Lucia. It was one of really the pioneers as a female, own chocolate company, really focusing on gourmet chocolates, using local products, so really organically grown cocoa beans, and with a really very big success, working very closely with smallholders as for the other entrepreneurs, promoting sustainable practices, our previous speaker was mentioning as well. And it has really included into a wide product line that they will explain to us, and having gained local and international recognition. So please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning. Okay, so my name is Hagar Hippolyte. Welcome to Cacoa Lucie. We are a handcrafted premium chocolate company based in St. Lucia. Since our founding in 2015, we've been rooted in the idea of creating a one-of-a-kind experience right here in St. Lucia. From our unique chocolate workshops to our handcraft chocolate and our latest addition, our chocolate-infused restaurant. We remain true to our belief and create a special place just for chocolate lovers, enthusiasts, and everyone intrigued by the aura of chocolate. So as you can see on the picture here, this is our start points with making our chocolate, and we also have the finished product right on the right side to my hands.
The Caribbean's rich cocoa heritage offers unparalleled opportunities for cross-border value chains in the chocolate industry. By leveraging regional collaboration, our chocolate factory can access premium cocoa beans from neighboring islands, enhancing product quality and authenticity. Exporting finished products to international markets allows us to tap into the growing demand for artisanal and ethically sourced chocolates. Additionally, strategic partnerships with regional suppliers, logistics providers, and distributors can optimize production costs and streamline supply chains. We have successfully capitalized on cross-border value chains by exporting small batch chocolates to retailers in Martinique, where our commitment to authenticity and all natural ingredients resonates with consumers. Our presence in Martinique has strengthened brand recognition and demonstrated the appeal of premium, preservative-free chocolates in regional markets. To maintain product excellence, we source the finest cocoa beans from St. Lucia, complemented by occasional imports from neighboring islands like Trinidad and Ecuador, ensuring unique and diverse flavor profiles. Building on this success, we are actively seeking to foster more partnerships, exploring new markets that align with our brand values, and expanding our reach within the Caribbean and beyond. Okay, so this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time and attention. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or you can put it in the chat. And we appreciate your support and look forward to building fruitful partnerships that take our chocolate journey to new heights. Once again, thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. Let me just ask quickly, what are your expansion? Do you know what is your next steps, what you want to do as markets or products? You want to target other countries in the region?
Yes, ma'am. So we're looking to do exporting our chocolates out of St. Lucia.
Yes, and you have already advanced conversations, so you have already identified customers and so on. Did you find it difficult? Because all your cocoa is sourced from St. Lucia. You don't source from other countries?
Yes, we do import cocoa from Trinidad as well.
Only Trinidad. Are you wanting to expand the sourcing from other countries as well, or you are happy with the only Trinidad? Does it satisfy
No,
the
we're
need?
looking to do that as well, to expand from other countries.
So expand the sourcing and expand the exporting of the chocolate bar. You are looking into that, but still within the CARICOM countries.
Yes, ma'am.
And have you benefited, because that's also one thing, of any kind of support, be finance, be grants, or it's all just with a private, let's say, investment of the company? Or are you working with partners that, you know, support you in different capacities?
Can you repeat once more? You were breaking up.
If you have or are planning to benefit from some financial support, be grants, be from you know, development partners, be from the government, be from other, or is just on your own private sector money, company money, because there are a few remarks wanting to know how the entrepreneurs are financing their model. Do you have grants or support from partners?
Yes, we do.
From local or international?
From local partnerships.
Okay. And last question from me is on all this packaging, because obviously when it gets into processing the chocolate into a bar, the design, the packaging, etc., is very important. It has to be appealing. There is a lot of competition. How are you doing that? Is it locally as well? You have been going through courses. I mean, because it's a difficult part, that one. The marketing, the design, how have you done that?
So our packaging and design normally comes from China. It's not locally.
Only from China?
Yes.
And have you views of making it more local, or
we are trying to do that as well.
Because I guess it is to cut cost, exactly. Yes. Because that could be expensive, and sometimes as well, you know, the consistency sometimes in international markets can be also a problem. Okay. And are you, my last comment is, as entrepreneurs, I mean, considering that all the business development, networking, you know, learning from, which is something that interests a lot our audience, are you part of networks of business people in the cocoa sector, be in the region or be internationally? Or is that something that you are looking at and we could facilitate as well from our side?
Yes, we are. It's something that we're looking at.
Okay. And you have many women working with you, and the smallholders, you have also many women you source from?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of women working with us.
So you have been giving a kind of priority to women producers and women processors.
We try our best to employ women, to empower them, and to allow them to know that it's not only men who go about being successful, but we women can be successful as well.
Okay, and this has worked. I mean, you have really built skills and capacities.
Yes.
That is very, very important, because we have a few examples from the Caribbean. We have featured some in previous sessions on chocolate, which are really, really amazing. And we have found that there is a market really regionally, provided that, of course, you know, the packaging, the design, in addition, obviously, to the flavor and the taste, is very well done. So, well, congratulations for that. I think you will have many interest, because I guess now you sell to the supermarkets, local super. Do you sell to hotels as well, or to other?
Yes, we do. So we sell to the supermarkets and to hotels as well.
Yeah, because tourism, you know, Allister was mentioning at the beginning, and we had a dedicated session, is also a potential to really tap into all the tourists coming to your region. You are one of the regions that welcomes most of tourists in the world, you know, so it's really one market which is there, and that can support that. Okay, very good. So I thank you very much. I'm sure that you will have.
Thank you as well for having us.
Many questions, and congratulations as women as well. We are always very pleased on that. So we had 3 entrepreneurs I will be happy now to give the floor to Allister. What has come from this first part is a bit what we mentioned at the beginning, you know, the markets, the easy part, what it brings in terms of skills, in terms of markets, in terms of innovation, investment, and so on. And a bit the difficult part that we knew, Allister, because we had also dedicated topics on logistics, on infrastructure, on regional trade, etc., that need to be worked on, and that are not only, of course, the responsibility of the entrepreneurs. And it links very well with our next panel, which is on support, you know, partners we work with, and that support, in addition to COLEAD and IICA, our partners in that journey. So the floor is yours, and then we will have a bit more time to the questions, as I see a number of them already in the Q&A and chat. Thank you, Allister, and thank you to all our presenters.
Thank you, Selina, and a special thank you to our entrepreneurs who shared their experiences. I think we had some awesome presentations, and it would be of significant benefit to the audience and even amongst themselves to hear the experiences that were shared. But while we talk about cross-border value chains, and you know, I spoke at the beginning about reducing the food import bill, the reality is it sounds so easy to make it sound sexy, or exporting to other countries or sourcing from within the region, etc. But there are a number of challenges that we face, and Isolina started speaking about them. Transportation. I saw someone pose a question in the chat about transportation issues, meeting market entry requirements. The sanitary and sanitary issues are critical for us to address. The requisite infrastructure needs to be there. Some persons don't have financing, they don't have proper research and development. And these are some of the things that we need to address if we are to really take advantage of these cross-border value chain opportunities, as Ravi would have shared, as Gyanti and the colleagues from St. Lucia would have shared. There are opportunities, but we need to address those key constraints. So I'm really happy to have support agencies on this morning for them to tell us what can be done, what opportunities they have that can be a benefit to our agri-entrepreneurs, both online and in the audience. So with that, I want to start this second panel. I would like to introduce my colleague Ben from the ITC, from the International Trade Center. Ben Morrison, he's the program officer with ITC. He's a program officer in the program titled Inclusive Agribusiness Systems, and he is based in Geneva. Ben specializes in agricultural value chain development with a focus on building partnerships that generate impact for smallholder farmers and micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. And that's through the Alliances for Action approach. Now, Ben has worked extensively on the formation and implementation of alliances in various sectors across Africa, the Caribbean, and Pacific, the overall ACP region, with a focus on leveraging private sector investment, value addition at origin, and responsible business conduct in value chains. In terms of qualifications, he holds a master's degree in international development and a bachelor's degree in development studies and politics from the Global Development Institute at the University of Manchester in the United Kingdom. Ben brings a wealth of experience to this platform, and we welcome him to do his presentation at this point. Ben, please proceed. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Allister, Isolina, and colleagues from IICA-COLEAD and all of the audience for your time and attention today. I'm just going to share my screen with you now. So today I've been asked to share a bit about the EU Caribbean Regional Food Security Programme, which is being implemented by CDB, IICA, ITC, and FIAP, as well as CPFA. But before I do, I wanted to just say thank you to the three companies or entrepreneurs that have presented before me. I think these are excellent examples of cross-border trade within the Caribbean, and really great examples of what the possibilities are, but also what some of the challenges are for entrepreneurs. And I'd like to talk a little bit in my presentation about how we can support through partnerships and alliances between public and private sector, and also between private sector and private sector in order to address some of these challenges and boost not just regional food security in the Caribbean, but regional trade in food products as well, or agri-food products. So just very briefly on the project itself, the general objective is to enhance the resilience and sustainability of food systems in the Caribbean. We do this by enhancing sustainability, resilience, nutrition, and gender sensitivity of food production systems, both in local and regional markets. We improve the processing and regional distribution systems of food products, extend inclusivity of national social protection systems, and finally promote equitable access to nutritious and healthy diets. As I mentioned before, the project is implemented by 4 different agencies. So the CDB focusing on finance, investment, and logistics, ITT on value chains, IICA on food safety and SPS, and finally FIAP and CBVA on social safety nets and nutrition. All of this work is done in strong partnership with regional institutions from the public sector, as well as private sector themselves. As our core mandate of ITC is to help MSMEs and farmer cooperatives to internationalize their products through these regional value chains, really we have deep engagement with the private sector entrepreneurs themselves on a case-by-case basis, but also in terms of facilitating group trade within the region as well. As I mentioned already, I won't go into too much detail on each of the individual partnerships that we have, but the project itself is funded by the European Union, and we're also working with a range of agencies at the international, regional, and national level as well. Some of them you can see here on the screen. In terms of our intervention logic and how we have come to start this project, we began working with our trade and market intelligence team here at ITC to conduct regional trade data assessments, basically of the trends that you see within regional trade or cross-border trade within the Caribbean. One of the main issues that we found is obviously that a huge amount of food is being imported from outside of the region. And actually only around 12% of food is traded between Caribbean partners. So from country to country, only about 12%. So there's a huge opportunity to grow into regional trade in food products. This analysis also enabled us to prioritize certain sectors and product value chains within the region, including the blue economy, as well as food value chains such as fruits and vegetables and roots and tubers. But also we have a strong focus on value addition and regional processing as well. And that processing can be between different countries in the region, right? So where some companies might, or some countries might have a comparative advantage in production, others have a comparative advantage in processing, and we're also making sure that we provide those connections to boost value addition within the region rather than outside of the region. We then also conducted a range of institutional assessments and scoping missions in order to map out who our potential partners would be, both from the public sector level and at the private sector level, in terms of different entrepreneurs and companies that we work with under this specific project. And we are now rolling out capacity building, market and investment linkages support to each of those companies, both at the national and regional level, in order to support these companies to be able to trade within the region to boost regional food security and regional trade. I mentioned already a little bit on the areas of focus for the project. We're implementing this as a regional project with a focus on the specific companies that we've selected within food value chains, blue economy, and also regional processing and value addition. We started with a pre-screening of around 140 companies. We've narrowed that list down to around 44 companies that were shortlisted. And then we conducted in-depth assessments and company visits to come to a list of 23 companies selected for the first phase of our interventions under this project. And I will emphasize that because we are able to increase the number of companies that we work with throughout the project. So what I would say is this 23 is not final number, and there is still opportunity to engage. So do feel free to reach out. Of course, we would have to go through the same assessment process that we have been through with other companies. But I'd just like to, mention that point now that this is, open to other companies to receive support and to partner under this project. One of the key areas I mentioned before was the blue economy. I think for me, this is, and for ITC, this is an area of huge potential, obviously within the Caribbean region as well. Globally, you have around 3 billion people working within this space and around 1.5 trillion of value-added products being produced in the ocean economy. So here, there's very high potential, and I think it's really an area which the Caribbean can continue to benefit from and scale up in terms of production of value-added blue foods and other products. As you can see here, we have a 4-pillar strategy for our blue economy work. 1, focusing on upgrading small-scale fisheries. 2, on promoting mariculture, aquaculture, and conservation. 3, on promoting new products and value addition, such as from sargassum and invasive seaweed and so on, as well as fish waste. And then also on improving market linkages and responsible investment. I mentioned also the other area of regional processing and value addition, another strong component under the project. We have assessed shared facilities with high potential to increase food security in the Caribbean, and we'll be working with those as catalysts in respective sectors and countries to produce healthy and nutritious food products in the region. These shared facilities are capturing more value within their own operations, and also we're encouraging linkages and enabling those with smallholder farmers and fisher folk in order to have processing facilities to add value to their own products that they would usually sell. We're delivering tailored capacity building to each of the selected companies, but then also, as I mentioned earlier, we have a regional component where we're able to share information and knowledge beyond those companies to the wider range of companies throughout the region, as well as other institutions as well. So in terms of our supports, we provide capacity building and market linkages supports. This ranges from value addition, so that can be anything in the realm of branding, packaging. It can be development of different products, so on and so forth. Access to markets, so this can be direct B2B linkages, participation in trade shows that we can partner on together with those companies, and also at the production level, together with the likes of Cardi and other partners, we're working on climate resilient and sustainable practices for food production as well. I want to pause there and happy to take any questions. Thank you once again for the opportunity, and looking forward to continuing the collaboration. Thank you.
Ben, let me thank you first of all for staying within the time. Excellent delivery. And, your presentation was quite comprehensive and very meaningful intervention for us here in the region. And I should start off by really complimenting and applauding the European Union for funding this overall intervention. And, we are really appreciative of the work of ITC here in the Caribbean region, and of course, your other partners, the CDB, IICA, CARDI, CRFM, CAFSA, etc. I think it's really wonderful that you all are working with various manufacturing associations, as you highlighted some of them, the Guyana Manufacturing Services Association, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. Excellent job. I think that you provide us with a lot of food for thought. I like the intervention logic and the analysis you all did in terms of the various commodities to be addressed and even the selection of companies. So I think we are seeing good collaboration here. And I think this is what is needed if we are to take advantage of these value chain opportunities. So I'm encouraging persons to put their comments or questions in the chat so we can come back to Ben at a later point to get more information on the intervention. But thank you again, Ben. Excellent presentation. So with that, we move on to our next presenter. We are switching gears from Europe. We're going across to Jamaica. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Andre Vincent Gordon. Andre is the Managing Director of Technological Solutions Limited, TSL, and he's the CEO, principal of the consultant for TSL Technical Services Limited. Now, Andre is a renowned expert in food safety and quality systems training. He has over 37 years of experience in the industry, and he has provided solutions-oriented technical assistance to businesses of all sizes across the Caribbean, North and South America, Europe, and Africa. So persons who are on the call who are from Africa, you can access Andre as well. He's a pioneer in the region, and he has established the first private sector-owned ISO 17025 certified lab in the region. He has supported over 1,000 businesses in exporting and manufacturing. And Andre has played a key role in reopening export markets for Jamaican products. He has also authored 4 books, and he has received numerous accolades, including recognition from the USDA for his contribution to the food industry. He brings a wealth of experience, great expertise to this discussion this morning. So Dr. Gordon, let me welcome you and ask you to deliver your presentation. You have 12 to 15 minutes tops. I'll give you a warning at 10 minutes. So please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Glean, Allister. I hope I won't need you to have to give me the warning. I'm going to try to be as succinct as I can. Just one thing, there's no Vincent in my name. It's just Andre Gordon. All right, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Hope everybody's seeing it. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to share with you all today is just some important considerations that impact cross-border value chains. I will just give you a little bit of background on our company so that you're aware. And I know Allister would have given you a little bit of background, just so that you know, we're a 28-year-old company. We've been around for some time. As Allister indicated, we introduced food safety and quality systems to the Caribbean in the late 90s. We operate a couple of laboratories that are ISO accredited by the American Association for Lab Accreditation. So we try to support the productive sector, and not just in Jamaica, but right across the Caribbean. And we also have a certification body that does SQF certification with persons that understand the cultural realities in developing countries. And it's the only privately owned one, regionally owned such in the Caribbean. We serve a wide variety of businesses, from importing all the way through hospitality, agricultural sector, and have a customer base that I think stretches, that Allister mentioned, that stretches multiple areas. What I want to focus on is some of the findings, some of the learnings from the work that we've done extensively across the region with multiple value chains, both those in country and as well as those that are cross-border value chain. We have worked right throughout the Caribbean, from Grenada, Jamaica, Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago. We'll show you some examples from Guyana, of course, Suriname as well, and Haiti. And in Africa, we've worked in Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, in Western Africa, and also in Southern Africa in Botswana, just to give you a feel for that. Throughout all of this, we've learned some important lessons about what works and what does not. What we focus on at TSL is getting things done, allowing companies to be able to make money, improve their operations, improve the livelihoods of their people, the people that work for them and their countries, by being able to access international markets or compete with imports. Because of this, Academic Press asked us to do a 3-volume series on highlighting a range of Caribbean and developing country products and issues related to market access, trade, and food, largely driven through food safety. So these are I just mentioned this because I'm going to try and use as examples from these because they're documented. People can have access to them, and also from a recent project that we just completed here in Jamaica. So I will share snapshots with you of some of this work, but most importantly, focus on important considerations and findings that entrepreneurs and persons providing support to value change probably are aware of, but I'm sharing them nonetheless. So the key objective of this presentation is to ensure that from this discussion, you get a better understanding of some of the realities of the entire value chain, not individual companies, no, but the entire value chains in a developing country context, and also understand what we have discovered as realities in making value chains work in developing countries. What are the key considerations? I will use examples from basically just briefly from Grenada, look at the Jamaican Jazz Spices project, which is ongoing, that's working with ginger, turmeric, and pimento. But I'll start by giving sort of an overview of how we look at a value chain, as was done with the Caribbean coconut industry value chain, which I'm sure Allister and others are aware of, which covered the production in Guyana and export to Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica of their bottled coconut water, but also looked at, you know, Suriname, St. Vincent and Grenadines, and St. Lucia as well. So when we're talking about a value chain, sometimes it seems kind of esoteric, but we're talking about, and this is now from Guyana, production in the Pomeroon region where the product is harvested, goes through different steps of handling, transportation, and Pomeroon is on a river. So the coconuts have to be transported in many cases to various places where the production facilities are, and then the production process. And how the production is done varies, but in some cases, it uses, you know, fairly advanced handling equipment. In many cases, fairly simple handling equipment. But in the final analysis, the water has to be harvested from the nut, the product packaged, and then the export chain starts. So a lot of work is done, used with different players within country, but then you have to access support, access the various things you need to trade across borders. And these are just some of the team members in the particular facility and the work that they do. So I just wanted to give you a practical feel. So what is involved in understanding value chains? It is critical in a developing country context to get an understanding, and for any value chain actually, of who the main actors are, the people who produce and handle the product, but equally as important, what is the supporting infrastructure, including technical support in country and support in helping the goods cross borders into markets where relevant. In order to properly understand this, it is a recommendation that you map the value chain so that you have a picture of what is involved. And this will help you identify what are the key limitations, what are the critical success factors, and how do you operate to ensure that you're going to have the greatest success along the value chain. These next two slides just give you pictorial representations of what value chain maps may look like. For all of the slides, I have the sources, so and I have references later, so you can search them up yourself. So this is one example. This is a much more comprehensive model that we developed initially based on a FAO model that allows you to identify not only all of the steps and where those happen, who the players are, but all the technical constraints, the supporters, and critically how value builds up along the chain, how value is harvested along the chain. It's really important to understand where the value is created and who gets the value, because that is the whole purpose of a value chain. And if you want to make value chains work better in developing countries to benefit the value chain participants, there are some key things that have to be understood. The first thing is understanding the markets that the product should be targeted to derive the best possible value for all of the participants along the value chain. And we have found that this is best achieved by doing an end market analysis that gives you very specific information about what products, what format, and who they are to be sold to in the market. If you wanted to look at a global value chain, the Indo-Ivorian global cashew nut value chain, which is covered in one of the volumes, is an example of a mega value chain that covers large geographical areas, and which we had some involvement with when we were doing some work in Ivory Coast. The examples from the Caribbean include, and there are many, but just for example, the way the Grenadian spices sector is organized is a good example of how you pull everybody together to support an export enterprise. And then, of course, we have the Jamaican project. It's called the Just Spices Project for ginger, turmeric, and pimento, which I will use sort of as to give you an overview of some of the practical aspects of this. So this just shows cinnamon being prepared prior to packaging for sale. And then when you're building up that value chain overview, this is a much simpler version compared to the others that I showed you. But what this one does for pimento is show all of the different steps in the production, all the way from input supply to consumption, where it happens, the persons involved, in this case, the farmers, who you will note only get about 5% of the final retail price of the product. And the final retail price happens in the export market, and typically for spices, 50% or more of the final retail value is retained in the export market. So our job is to find a way of helping the rest of the value chain, which produces in the Caribbean and other developing countries, get higher returns and benefit more of the persons that are involved in the actual production. This is best done driven by an end market analysis that helps you to map out what is the best route to get to the specific market you're targeting, what is the best distribution channel to follow, and what are the options for distribution channel, and critically, who is the final consumer and what kind of product should we be selling to this consumer. So I have two slides that give you examples for ginger from the Just Spices project that we were involved with. And for ginger, it showed that for Jamaican ginger, the product segments that we should be targeting are in all of the markets that were looked at, flavoring ingredients in ready-to-eat meals. So this is a new era. We don't currently supply this era. In the EU, amongst other specialty teas containing Jamaican ginger was identified as a high-value market. In the UK, natural flavoring ingredients with functional benefits in snacks, baked goods, and confectionery. Note how specific this is. If we go on to look at the US, what we found was that the products we should be targeting are anti-nausea, anti-nausea and prenatal supplements, and motion sickness remedies for ginger, as well as using it as an aromatic ingredient with therapeutic properties in personal care products. For Canada, we should be targeting flavor ingredients, using it as a flavor ingredient in rum-based, ready-to-drink cocktails, and also likewise, as in the US, for flavoring ingredient in snacks, baked goods, and confectionery. I hope that gives you sort of the specificity that is needed if you really want to drive significant changes along a value chain. In order to do this, though, you need a plan. And so what we have found, it is best to use this information, how the value chain works, which market you need to sell to develop a roadmap. It's called value chain upgrading roadmap. And that becomes the plan that international agencies, all the partners, all the support agencies can use to work to develop the value chain over time. As Ravi has told you and the other participants from Suriname, St. Lucia, and elsewhere, nothing happens overnight. So you need commitment, but you also need a plan that everybody can work to. So the upgrading roadmap, amongst the things that it will show you is the need, and Ravi also mentioned this, Ravi Sankar in his presentation, the need for having available competent enabling scientific and technology support for production, for compliance with requirements, and to get you into markets. It will also help you address key limitations and help in achieving competitiveness if it's properly deployed, as well as in accessing the most remunerative segments of the market. In this regard, certification is important, which is one of the reasons why TSL has gone into that. And in Jamaica, we also have organizations like the SRC that helps and the Bureau of Standards as well. So in summary, while we can talk about value chains, we can do all of the things that are nice to do. If we want to make value chains work in developing countries, there are some hard metrics that have to be done. And some of the things that we have found from working in multiple countries include understanding the realities of the value chain in a developing country context, including the important limitations and key success factors. We've also found that the chances of success are greatly improved when the value chains are mapped so that you understand the complexities, when key success factors are identified, and critically, when the players are brought together to build trust along the chain. Other key success factors include identifying highly remunerative, note the term, very profitable markets, and then implementing an effective upgrading plan that allows the value chain to harvest more value along the chain, earlier up in the chain, so that the farmers, the aggregators, the processors, and the exporters can make better margins, pay their people better, and contribute more to the growth of their companies and the economies in which they're located. I want to thank you. I will take any questions you have. And in this presentation, which I'll share, we also have the references, and I can provide any other information that you may need. Thank you very much.
Dr. Gordon, thank you very much for that presentation. I couldn't even talk about time because I was so engaged in the presentation. It was very, very, very instructive, very, very informational. And I think that it seems as if we're building a web. We're connecting the dots. We heard from ITC, we're hearing from you, and we get a better appreciation of how the value chain should be developed and your role in developing these value chains. And I'm really excited to see that besides the Caribbean focus, you also engage in activities in Africa and other territories. So there's great benefit to the persons who are in the audience to be able to engage you on the ITC so far. Pretty comprehensive delivery there, Dr. Gordon, and we are appreciative of that. I'm really looking forward to members of the audience sharing their comments and questions in the chat so we can hear more from you later on. Please, colleagues, put your questions in the chat so we can document them and that we can hear more from Mr. Morrison as well as Dr. Gordon. And it's good to see that we have these testing facilities in the region that could support certification. We heard that you said from Scientific Research Council in Jamaica, the Bureau of Standards, and of course TSL. And I believe there are other facilities in the region as well. So entrepreneurs, take advantage of this opportunity, get information, get certification, access the support that's available. We've heard from ITC, now we're hearing from TSL. There's no excuse why we can't get into these markets. And as I said, we're building a web, and the ultimate goal is to capture something. A spider weaves a web to capture something. We want to capture markets. We want to capture market opportunities. So as I said, we're building something. We heard from ITC, heard from TSL. Now we're going to hear from a third support agency. I think it will really help us to develop this infrastructure to allow you to benefit as agri-entrepreneurs. We want to switch gears and go to the lone female in the panel. We like having the gender balance. And we're going to hear from Ms. Nayaatha Taitt from Compete Caribbean. I'm really excited to hear from Compete Caribbean. Nayaatha is the program coordinator for Pillar 1 of the Compete Caribbean Partnership Facility, and she can tell you a bit more on that. Ms. Taitt is a private sector development consultant with the IADB, the Inter-American Development Bank. She's currently coordinating Compete Caribbean's Pillar 1, which looks at promoting competitiveness, climate action, and inclusiveness of the Caribbean private sector. Nayaatha has over 10 years of experience working in topics relating to private sector development, innovation, and entrepreneurship, as well as sustainable development, both within and outside the region. And she has worked with key organizations such as the IDB Lab, the International Center for Trade and Sustainable Development, United Nations Development Program, and the Association of Caribbean States. Ms. Taitt is also currently pursuing a PhD in Innovation Economics at the United Nations University Maastricht Economic and Social Research Institute on Innovation and Technology. She is exploring firm-level innovation in the Caribbean, green innovation, and public policies for innovation. Nayaatha also holds a master's degree in international affairs from the Graduate Institute of International and Development Studies in Geneva, Switzerland, and also undergraduate and postgraduate degrees from the University of the West Indies. We appreciate her participation and giving her her time to share with us. Nayaatha, please feel free to proceed. You have 12 to 50 minutes tops, and I'll give you a signal to wrap up around 10 minutes to 12 minutes. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Allister, and thank you so much, COLEAD and IICA, for the opportunity to present here today. This morning was really, really insightful to me to hear first from the entrepreneurs across the region and all of the exciting work that you all are doing. And then, of course, the fellow presenters from the institutes present here today. It's really, heartening to see all that's done in the region. And, from our perspective here at the Compete Caribbean program, I'm happy to kind of give you an insight into what we're doing with regard to clusters and value chains across the region. And, really looking forward to see how we could kind of build out that web that Allister mentioned to continue supporting the work being done on the ground. So, that said, the Compete Caribbean Plus program is a multi-donor trust fund here at the Inter-American Development Bank. It is supported by the IDB, but as well from the CDB, the Government of Canada, as well as the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office. And in terms of the program, so we've been around since 2012, but more recently, last year, we would have recapitalized the fund for a third round, introducing ourselves now as Compete Caribbean Plus. And what does that mean? As a private sector development program, we continue to focus on the private sector and enhancing competitiveness to drive regional growth and productivity. But we're also now playing a greater role and placing more emphasis on climate resilience, because of course we sit in a region that is very vulnerable to climate change, and understanding the impact that that's having on our small businesses, we do want to be able to strengthen their resilience moving forward. Of course, we also focus on inclusive development. So how could we ensure participation across the spectrum of gender, as well as other marginalized groups? And we operate from across 13 countries in the region, from as far up and north as Belize, and all the way down to Suriname in the south. It is currently a 5-year facility going towards 2029. So I wouldn't spend too long on this. Suffice it to say, we recognize the challenges facing the region in terms of low productivity. And then, of course, when it comes to, firms operating in very small markets, a key challenge being, the limited ability to meet economies of scale. And for that reason, we see the power in clusters and value chains is actually one of our most powerful methodologies that we employ under the program. And here, today I'm really happy to present a couple examples of the projects that we've supported and what we've kind of seen as some of the best practices emerge in this space in terms of cross-border collaboration and how the cluster methodology is powerful in doing this. So I think, we've heard during the course of this presentation a lot around value chains. Clusters are another approach to this sort of aggregation when it comes to the supply chain, but really helping to bring together many small producers working together probably in a close geographic proximity to collaborate and obtain a large share of the global market. And I think this is particularly important in the Caribbean when we talk about the opportunities for collaboration, given that the market is small. And oftentimes when we kind of think about, undertaking investments in innovation, it might be too much for one firm to undertake on their own. So there's this kind of public or club good aspect of investments that firms would otherwise not undertake on their own privately, but by operating together in a cluster, they're able to pursue common objectives around marketing, investments in training, or joint production for new products and services, or they're also able to save cost and improve the supply chain, as well as also bargain with governments and other key stakeholders for the enabling environment that they need for their particular sector or segment to thrive. And we've seen over time that firms that participate in clusters in the region are, definitely stronger than those that don't. They're able to penetrate a higher share of the market, optimize economies of scale, and of course, lower transaction costs. And then there's that direct link as well between those operating in clusters and higher productivity, wages, and as well the ability to attract foreign direct investment. So as a program, over the lifespan of the facility since 2012, we've supported 23 cluster and value chain projects, which together impacted over 15,000 businesses. And that would have been in sectors from agriculture, the blue economy, community-based tourism, as well as the professional services sector, for example, the business process outsourcing sector in Jamaica. So today I just wanted to give 3 short examples, but particularly of clusters that we would have supported in the past that in particular took advantage of cross-border opportunities, particularly as it related to the markets for consumption of their products and how they were able to add value and tap into that market. So the first one is the Jamaica Queen Conch cluster, which, working together, they were able to increase Jamaica's global market share and export sales for conch. So the conch cluster came together as a result of a Compete Caribbean supported project. We now have around 12 of the industrial fishers within the conch sector in Jamaica participating. And importantly, through training and capacity building and upgrading of the cluster, they're now the first fishery in the world to achieve Marine Stewardship Council certification. And essentially what this now allows them to do is to go after a niche market segment to attract higher value, to attract higher prices for their products, and then also bring value addition to the products. So whereas before they were just exporting the conch raw, now they're able, for example, to do canned conch, chowder, soup, pate, and a large part of the market for this is Europe. So exporting via Martinique and Guadeloupe, and then eventually towards Europe. And in doing this, they were not only able to add value based on, volume, because we understand because of the limitations of size in the region, we're not always able to take advantage of volume and economies of scale, but rather they were able to tap into a niche segment of the market to be able to attract greater value and prices. Another thing that they were able to do is to tap into a segment of the market that was more eco-conscious and environmentally aware. And in doing so, again, kind of position their products as a kind of premium product for this particular market segment and attract a higher price. So in terms of cross-border consumption, we're seeing here in terms of the work that we're doing, a premium being paid to this kind of sustainability certification and the ability to go after niche markets. And one thing that I wanted to mention as well, which, you know, kind of came out as a kind of byproduct or by observation of this entire exercise, is that in also adding value through, for example, now canning the products, they were also able to overcome some of the logistics and transportation challenges in the region. So whereas before they were limited in the markets that they could tap into because of the logistic hurdles of getting the product out of Jamaica, the transport challenges, of course, you have the issue of cold storage, you know, and that really limited the time that they were able to kind of take advantage of having that product reach the market. But now in canning the product, they kind of overcame that challenge and are now kind of open to markets in Japan and beyond. So all to say again that, you know, even in this kind of cross-border trade, the value addition here is also adding an opportunity to overcome some of the logistical barriers that we know some of the producers in the region face when it comes to transportation and cold storage. In terms of a second project, so this is slightly outside the agriculture sector, sea coral, so it's in the blue economy space, but I think it does bring some relevant lessons when we talk about cross-border collaboration for value chains in the region. So this was a cluster of recreational dive and snorkel adventure dive shops focused on ecosystem conservation and restoration. So they, it was a group of dive shops in the Bahamas that came together to tap into a new market niche segment in reef restoration tourism. So they were all trained in coral nursery maintenance, for example, as well as the establishment of new kind of reef rescue experiences for visitors. They expanded the coral nurseries, they did new outplanting of corals. So they were able to tap into not only a segment of the market that were eco-conscious in terms of all of the work that they were doing around conservation, but as well persons interested in tourism, source markets, in new experiences, in new blue economy experiences and new dive experiences. And importantly, working together as a cluster, they were able to develop a website where they could showcase the work as well as jointly market some of these experiences and allow persons overseas to book these experiences before even coming to the Bahamas. So I think this was an important example of how, you know, digital e-commerce could also facilitate a form of cross-border value chains, for example, which I think is important again in this region where, you know, we have to find ways of overcoming the limitations of size, for example, of overcoming the limitations of being small fragmented markets, sitting in a region which, you know, is probably not kind of covered by the mainstream, but by having these kinds of digital tools, we could also leverage those to be able to expand our presence globally. And finally, I wanted to mention the shrimp cluster. So we worked with a group of shrimp producers to not only strengthen their biosecurity to reduce the risk of diseases, but also to increase their export earnings and job opportunities. So similar to the Kong cluster, this cluster went after the Aquaculture Steward Council certification, ASC certification, which also certified that they were following environmentally and socially responsible production practices for shrimp. Again, this allowed them to access premium markets where, you know, high value was being placed on environmental and social sustainability. And in doing so, they were able to increase their exports from 20 million to 45 million over the period, as well as increase their annual sales and employment. So I think the takeaway here for us in terms of compete and some of the messages that I wanted to leave for this discussion in terms of, you know, the cross-border opportunities for value chains. You know, I think there are opportunities for the region to go after niche market segments, again, because we can't always compete on the basis of size. we could compete on the basis of value addition in very niche spaces. And I think the chocolate company was a really good example of that kind of niche gourmet chocolate experience, you know, which is able to capture a higher price on the basis of the flavor as well as the packaging, for example. I think as well, you know, there is an opportunity to capture markets through new digital technologies and the potential for digital clusters in the region. I think as well there are opportunities given, you know, the threat of climate change to talk about how we could mainstream green and sustainability actions, conservation actions within clusters and value chains so that it not only has an environmental kind of good, but it also, you know, kind of lifts the bottom line of the company as well from an economic perspective. And I think all of the surrounding opportunities to work with the entire value chain and all of the actors, the governments, the skills upgrading necessary. I think there are a lot of opportunities as well surrounding the cluster to build the capacity of clusters to enhance their exports. And finally, I think what we've seen in terms of clusters, you know, the strongest opportunities, and I think Andre kind of alluded to it in his discussion around, you know, the end market analysis. But for us, we've seen the strongest opportunities for clusters, not only where the clusters kind of locally aggregate and there's this kind of natural opportunity for collaboration on the ground, which I think is a great starting point, but it definitely, we've seen the strongest clusters are those that emerge from, you know, a strong market opportunity, a strong opportunity driven by trade, driven by the opportunity to export, and driven by the opportunity to tap into new niche markets that they otherwise would not have if they perhaps weren't working together as a cluster. So I'll leave it here for now, but I'm really happy to be here and to present. And, you know, for those of you interested, feel free to visit the Compete Caribbean website to reach out to me directly. And, you know, we launch periodically calls for proposals for clusters and value chains. We, in fact, just launched our first call under CC+, which closed last week. And we intend to be rolling out future calls in the future where we do offer technical assistance to clusters and value chains, seeking to kind of overcome the hurdles of collaborating and to incentivize collective action. So thank you.
Nayaatha, I want to thank you, first of all, for that delivery, for managing the time efficiently. We appreciate that. And that has been very, very detailed. I think we really have to capitalize on the support that's available to the entrepreneurs and for us here as stakeholders in the sector in this region. The technical assistance has been provided by Compete. I think it can really advance our sector in the region. And you know, you highlight the value of clustering, and it seems it's a viable approach to advancing and developing industries for us in the region. We a lot of times don't have the scale, and by working together, as you said, we can capitalize on some of the opportunities that are out there. And I'm glad that you highlighted the opportunities for various clusters, digital, the green space, etc., and being more climate smart. So I think there are a lot of opportunities that we need to tap into. So I'm looking forward to persons asking questions, presenting comments, etc., in the chat. But again, Nayaatha, we want to thank you for that excellent delivery and for managing the time effectively. I want to quickly move on, though, to the question and answer period. I'm hoping that we can get through as many questions as possible and then allow the presenters to give a final comment as we close off. So in terms of questions, I want to start off with Ravi, and there are a number of questions that came to Ravi. So Ravi, I'm gonna share some of them, and hopefully you can capture them and answer. Ravi, someone asked out of Suriname, can you use the mango in powder form? And another question that was posed to you, what climate challenges do you face in operations and the overall supply chain? And how do you look at building resilience? I'll start with those two questions, Ravi.
All right. So mangoes, for the product that we are doing, preferably grated or cut mangoes. So powder, not really. maybe look at another product, but it has to be grated or cut. Climate change. Well, again, it affects crops. So we find out the volume of raw material or agri-produce that we'll normally get from the farmers has been a challenge now. So that's basically what the issue would be, supply. What was the other question again, Allister?
How do you plan to build resilience, particularly among the farmers that from which you get your supply? Any considerations there?
Well, we outsource, so we look at all the other options. Maybe when Trinidad do have some produce, we look at Jamaica, we look at Dominica or St. Vincent. We don't have a choice but to look outside of Trinidad. I mean, regionally, even internationally too.
But no plans to work with farmers to help them be a little more climate smart or to mitigate against the effects of climate change. Any plans to work with farmers in that regard?
I think
or development agencies?
In my case, there's only so many things that I could do at a time, and I hope the agencies could help us with that, to help the farmers. It is very difficult for us to try to work with the farmers, even getting farmers on contracts to supply us is difficult. So imagine get them to work on these things is very difficult.
Okay. Ravi, another question. Does the mango sea weevil affect your production and in terms of where you source the materials from, etc.?
Does the mango?
Sea weevil, that's a question I saw in the chat. The mango weevil?
No, I never come across that. So it doesn't affect us.
Okay. And finally, what variety of mangoes do you normally utilize?
We use the rose mango, or I think it's called mango vert. There's a nice red one with that's not stringy. So it works well for some of our condiments. The anchars and the mango cuchilla or the preserved mango. That works well.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that, Ravi. We will come back to you shortly. Let me try to get some other questions to the other colleagues. To Gyanti at Varross. Can Varross work with local producers to supply meat versus relying on imported raw materials? I think that's the question I saw, Gyanti.
So the import market is already quite significant, and it starts with the breeding of the livestock, and it's course the feed concentrates and raw material like wheat and soy to produce feed. But it's quite significant, but we could certainly explore partnerships with local producers. Yes.
Okay, great. That's good news to hear. So the persons who are on from Suriname, please consider these opportunities to work with Varross. We invite you to contact them, and Gyanti would have shared her contact details. And I know Isolina would have engaged Cacoa to get more information. If I can ask though, I think I saw this Cacoa from Hager and Company. Do you all engage in various exhibitions, etc., to capture export markets? Are there any plans to explore more export markets in the Caribbean or Europe? Cacoa, is Cacoa on Saint Lucie? Okay, not hearing them. Let me move on to Ben. I know a question came in. Are there any programs for Africa, in particular Ivory Coast?
Yes, thanks, Allister. I actually responded directly to the participant in the chat. So yes, ITC works across Africa, the Caribbean, Pacific, Asia, and beyond. So there are some projects also implementing similar activities. So yes, I've sent the link to the website, but also Eric, feel free to reach out to me directly as well.
Okay, fantastic. Isolina, did I miss any of the questions? Maybe you can come in if I missed any of the questions before I wrap up.
I don't think so. What we have put is, and I will put again, my colleagues, an email where, you know, more specific, there are very specific ones for some countries, importing, exporting, for some, you know, the specific panelists. I think it can be followed bilaterally, so we will be happy to link them. And also, Allister, as a follow-up, to put some resources when we share the PowerPoints, you know, the recording and so on, to put also more the links, and they're in the PowerPoints, but we will also put that with the contacts, the allowed contacts, surely. Thank you. Very interesting.
Great. Well, let me ask each presenter if they can do a last 1-minute summary on their enterprise. Any last comments they would like to share with us, food for thought sort of stuff. So let me start with Ravi. If you could take like 30 seconds to a minute at max, just to summarize as we close off.
Right. So, Allister, I mean, this forum is good information. We get to collaborate and get some more contacts. So we are really looking forward to working with more farmers, agro-processors, because we have the demand, but in some cases the supply is an issue as it is right now. Peppers are short in Trinidad. We can't meet our demands. So wherever we can, you know, we like farmers, agro-processors to reach out to us. In some way, we could get look at the linkages we could form and get our supplies back in order.
Thanks for that, Ravi. Interesting, and we want to encourage persons, reach out to Ravi, look at his products online, look at his website, interest in products for buyers, get in touch with him. Back to, if I can go to Gyanti at Varross. Gyanti, minute to summarize.
Yes, I want to add that the future is full of possibilities, and every presenter that presented today and all the instances, and so I'm pretty confident that with the right strategies and collaboration, we can all achieve our goals. And this is a perfect chance to network further on. So we could also make use of the contact information from all of the presenters. And yes, that's all.
Thank you very much, Gyanti. It's good to have Suriname on the forum, and we really look forward to seeing more Surinamese products in the Eastern Caribbean, in the Northern Caribbean, Western Caribbean, and of course, the opportunity to supply Varross with raw materials to continue its work in value chains. So we applaud the work that you've done. And I'll go back to Cacoa, St. Lucie, Haga and Company. Are you all back on? Just to close off. Okay, it seems we've lost them. So I want to go to our support agencies. Ben, any closing comments? 1 minute to share with us?
Thank you very much, Allister. No, I think in summary from my side, the 2 key points would be value addition and partnerships stroke alliances. I think really in the region at the moment, there's a huge opportunity for cross-border trades, especially in agri-foods. There's a lot of political will, there's a lot of private sector investment, and there's a lot of different agencies, public and private, that have a huge amount of knowledge to share. So I think it's really about leveraging those alliances and partnerships between countries, but also within countries, between private and public sectors, to leverage that investment as well. But I think it's initiatives such as these today, such as the project that I'm working on together, you know, ITC with IICA, with CDB, and with a whole host of agencies, that we're able to unlock and benefit from these opportunities for the private sector and for the companies themselves. So yeah, thank you again for the invitation. It's been a pleasure to participate on my side, and looking forward to continuing the collaboration. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ben. Incredible insights. The whole idea of collaboration always excites me, and to hear all those different agencies involved, that is tremendous for us here in the region. Andre, any insights from you? We'd really appreciate it. I don't know if we lost Andre.
No, I was muted. Sorry. Are you hearing me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, yes. I want to fully endorse everything that Ben has said. It's really important, having been involved in exports for the last, 30 odd years and working across all of these territories. It was really great to hear from Gyanti, for example. I was in Suriname a few weeks ago, and I wasn't aware of her company, although I've been there many times. So it's really exciting to see what's happening there. And I believe this forum has provided a lot of information. We particularly at TSL are very willing to share everything, all our knowledge, what we've done, helping people network, helping people to find stuff. So this is an opportunity to make sure the entrepreneurs that are on, whether they're based in the Caribbean or based in Africa or wherever they are in the Pacific, reach out to the persons here and see whether or not people are able to help. I know we certainly are willing. I'm pretty sure ITC, Compete Caribbean, IICA, and all of the other persons are willing to help those who they can. Information, linkages, opportunities to work together are the engine that will drive prosperity in the future.
Andre, great importance in what you shared there, and I really hope that entrepreneurs take advantage of these opportunities. I implore them, tell your colleagues about what you've heard, go back to the recording, share it with others. This is really wonderful what we're hearing here today. Let me thank you, Andre, and closing off, Nayaatha.
Yeah, no, I just want to leave a message to say that, Compete Caribbean is open for business. We're happy to explore partnerships, to hear from the region, to learn how we could best support the needs and meet the region where it is. So feel free to follow the website, subscribe to our newsletter, and reach out directly. Just to say that in addition to the cluster and value chain methodology, we also have work and opportunities that would be forthcoming in the space of technology extension, so helping firms as well to integrate new technologies into their business, as well as support for business support organizations, as well as the whole ecosystem around firms, labs for lab testing, and regulatory agencies, etc. We support all of that work as well. So stay tuned and look forward to future opportunities.
Thanks, Nayaatha. I applaud the work that you all are doing as stakeholders. And I'm sure the entrepreneurs will say, we got a really packed session today. A lot of information that can be of benefit to us. We have no excuses why we can't move forward. So again, every session is always informative and valuable to our growth. But I must admit, today I feel as if we received a lot. We receive a lot to be able to advance our efforts. So again, I want to thank all the presenters for their efforts, for the time they shared, for the audience that came on, for the questions, for the sharing of information. But I think I must say I'm grateful for the work of the COLEAD team in putting this together, by the leadership of Isolina. Isolina, we're really appreciative of all the work you've done from the inception. You and Ina Harvey, you all have done really great work to make this what it is today. And of course, to your team, Nina and Ahuefa, we are really grateful for the work that you all have done. And I want to thank the IICA team, my colleagues in headquarters who are on board with this. And of course, this is anchored by my colleague here in the office, Dr. Roxanne Waite. Really phenomenal work. And the rest of the team across the region in St. Lucia, Jamaica, Suriname, here in Barbados. Hope I'm not leaving out any country. They were all, and Trinidad and Tobago, of course, all really resourceful in supporting the entrepreneurs to do their presentations and to actually identify them. And of course, you, the audience, that tells us what are some of the key things you all want to see presented and what you all want to hear. This can't be the success of this today without your contributions. And again, just to let you all know, on the 24th of April, I believe we have our next session, and we'll be looking at innovation and technology adoption by entrepreneurs. So feel free to share insights with us even before the session, and tell your colleagues, look out for the next session. We really want to have you all on board. With that, let me thank you all, and I'll ask Isolina if she has any final comments before we wrap up. And thank you to the interpreters for their hard work. Really appreciative of your efforts. Isolina?
Yes. Thank you to the interpreters. And, it's fascinating. I fully agree with you, Allister. I just have a frustration, which is time. This could go on and on and on and on for all of us. There is still many people in the room, but that's how it is. But please reach out, and we will try to support you. And if we can support you directly, we will link you to other partners, etc., that can do that. It was extremely interesting, so I don't want to take any more time. Thank you to everybody for the contributions, and we stay in touch. That's the most important as well. Keep well.
Bye, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Gaëtan and Sandra from the communication.
Bye, everyone.
It's the invisible people.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Merci.